For this task, you're going to need one of these and one of these. So pen and paper. In the test, really important that you make sure you do that before you click next. So you've got a clean piece of paper. If you've got lots of writing on your page, then you've got to kind of focus on writing really tiny and getting it into the space. You want to use a whole piece of paper for your notes, so you're not worried about space. You can write quite large. It'll be easier to read later. And there's plenty of paper in the test. They give you a booklet. You don't need to worry about, have I got enough space to write notes? Clean piece of paper, off you go. When you take notes, you should be taking them in a specific format, which we'll look at in a moment. I've explained it in detail in some of the other videos for Retell Lecture, so I'll just do it fairly quickly here. But the main purpose is to help you to focus as you listen, to make sure you're not taking too many notes. So I'm suggesting just 6 pieces of information. That's all you need. And you're looking for, what is the sound file mainly about, and what are some other interesting or supporting ideas? Don't overthink it. So you're focusing on your notes. Once you've got your notes, you've only got a few seconds. You need to start retelling. And at that time, keep it simple. Don't go for complex vocab. Don't think about the grammar. Just speak as naturally and as fluently as you can. So my name's Melinda. I'm from Queensland in Australia, and we're about to get started with this retell. Let's go. Okay, now, in the test, you're going to have a few seconds. All you're going to see in that few seconds is a screen that looks like this corner down here, a picture and some timers. Okay, this part over here I'm putting in to help you. You won't see this in the test. What you want to do before you click to start the task is have your pen and paper ready. That means you've already written down TDM, SPC, and you know each of those stands for a word, and each word is a prompt for the beginning of a sentence. When you use that structure, that's going to simplify the task for you. Simplifying the task means you're going to increase your fluency. That's what we're aiming for. Okay, I'm about to click this. When I do, you've got 3 seconds, then the sound will begin. You need to listen and take notes, just 1 note for each of those. After the sound finishes, you've got 10 seconds. A microphone will pop up and you need to speak for 40 seconds. I want you to record yourself on a recording app on your phone so you can listen back later. Now, in the test, instead of a microphone, you get a few words telling you to record now, and you record directly into the computer using your headset that has a microphone on it. Okay, 3 seconds. Let's go. Cacao contains over 500 different chemicals. 2 of them that people seem to love are caffeine and theobromine. These 2 chemicals have fueled our addiction to chocolate for over 2,500 years. Initially, chocolate was only available in liquid form, but almost 200 years ago, in 1845, the first solid blocks of chocolate were produced. Initially a treat, chocolate is now consumed daily by many people. Some argue that it is good for our health to have 2 to 3 pieces a day. Others say that the sugar content and the chemicals are harmful. In large quantities, chocolate can cause heart palpitations or even death. However, this is very rare. Many people share chocolate with their dogs, but it is poisonous for our canine friends, even in relatively small doses. Theobromine seems to be the chemical that causes the problem and turns chocolate into a dog killer. Giving our dog a single piece may not be too harmful, though in small dogs it could result in seizures or convulsions, bluish skin and a fast, irregular heartbeat. If a dog gets a block and scoffs a substantial amount, it could be fatal. And get ready to speak when you see that microphone. Okay, let's talk about the two extremes, the strong candidate and the weak candidate. If you're a strong candidate, you understood the listening file, you've got some notes, you just needed to focus on your fluency as you were speaking. If you're a weak candidate, maybe you struggled with the sound file, you didn't quite understand it. What can you do in that case? In that case, don't give up. Just write down some words that you heard that you thought were important. For example, the word chocolate, maybe a year or a location, just a few pieces of information, a few words that you heard, even if you didn't really understand the context. Then when it comes to the speaking, you're just going to make sentences using those words. So the speaker was talking about chocolate. She discussed 1845. So just use those words and add a little bit extra, pad out a few sentences. What will happen in that case is your speaking will be assessed in terms of fluency. Did you speak fluently? And pronunciation. Could we understand you fairly easily? That's the speaking component of your mark, and it's the listening component of your mark or your score that you're going to lose something for, because your sentences in that case don't really show good understanding of the text. You haven't got any relationships between things. You didn't quite catch it all. That'll be evident, but that will affect your listening score. Hopefully, you're a stronger candidate. If not, well, that's a learning process. Your English is getting better. Your listening is getting better. It's a matter of time. Okay, let's check some answers here. So my notes, I've got my TDM SPC. I've put some notes next to them. That's going to enable me to retell that lecture fairly fluently. I've got my structure. The speaker was talking about. Then she described. Next, she mentioned. So I've got my structure and I'm just making sentences with my notes. And we'll listen to an example in a moment. But first, this is the text that you heard. You can pause the video if you want to and read through the text. These are the things that I felt were important. Maybe you took notes of these, maybe not. They're just some of the things. So cacao involves over 500 different chemicals. Some of the key chemicals are caffeine and theobromine. We've been addicted to chocolate for over 2,500 years. We consume it daily now. Some people say it's good for our health. Some people say it's harmful. However, in large quantities, it can cause problems or even death. And then she went on to talk about dogs, saying it's poisonous for them. It can cause seizures. It could even be fatal. So they're the things that I felt were important. Maybe you identified some of those and some other things. That's okay. And the question becomes, did you speak fluently? So let's listen to a response.
The speaker was talking about cacao and the chemicals it contains, like caffeine and theobromine. She discussed how chocolate has been popular for 2,500 years. Then she mentioned that many people around the globe consume it daily, and she said that some people say it is healthy while others say that it is bad for health. Then she pointed out that chocolate is definitely harmful to dogs. She concluded that it may cause seizures in dogs and can sometimes be fatal.
Okay, and the length of the response, the sweet spot is 30 to 35 seconds or around that, a little bit under, a little bit over, no problem at all. Did you speak fluently? How's your listening going?